Okay, folks, I'm back. Yes, the live streaming is back. Don't panic. I'll be along in just a moment, okay? And we'll catch up with everything that's going on. We'll catch up with the whole demonetization via duplication. I know, don't ask me. It's a new one on me as well. But we'll go over that. We'll catch up on a big show that's coming up tonight and a huge show coming up later in the week as well. And you know, mainly, it's just to come back and hang out with you guys and to let you know where you can find the backup channel, a whole heap of stuff, okay? So just give us 5 minutes, we'll let it fill up a bit, and then we'll get right into it, folks. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. You know, this whole YouTube episode that I'm going through right now, I truly have taken a really kick to the confidence. So thanks to all of you. That's the only reason I'm back here today. So stand by, folks. We will be along in a minute from sunny California. We've got Anna in the house. Brilliant. Hey, Valley. Hey, Freddie. We'll get there in a moment, folks. I'll be right back. I'm not sure how to pronounce that OEO, but I have been trying to figure out a way to get round some problems on YouTube, and it's really knocked me for six. It truly has. But we'll get into that in a moment. Gregory, I think I said Japan there, I'm not too sure. Absolutely amazing. So we're going to get into it in just a moment, folks. Give it a minute, and then we will get right into what's going on, what's coming up, what yous are all thinking as well. Because just like the live stream before I went on that little hiatus there, a lot of this, you know, it's just going to be chilling out with the audience, especially with what I'm about to explain to you here. Things on YouTube are getting different, folks. They're getting different. And as a live streamer, things are getting really, really perilous. But we'll find out more about that in just a moment. I see a few mods in there. Big shout out to all of you. Ian Mahon, have you heard of Russ Dizdar? I sure have, brother. I sure have. Does some good work. Can't say I agree with it all, but there's nobody in the world that I agree 100% with. So, no, Russ does some really good work. I'll be along in just a moment, folks. Chill out, get to know each other in the chat, have some fun, we'll have some games, and we'll all just catch up. So, stand by. I see Leslie in the chat room talking about Saturn beams. This is something that came from Secure Team 10, and I wouldn't believe Secure Team 10 if they showed me, if they were to tell me night came after day. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't. And I know myself and Anthony have talked about Birkeland currents back to Saturn in the past, but they certainly don't look anything like what Secure Team 10 is showing you. And you can go and Google Birkeland currents. You can go and see what they look like naturally. They're twisted. They're certainly not like, dare I say it, lens flares coming off Saturn. But I'll be back in just a moment, folks. See, I'm getting into the chat already. This was only meant to be a quick one, but here we go. You all ready out there? Because I am. Let's do it. So here we are. We're back. And as you can see on the screen, this is tonight's big show. And this is the one show that I can safely say that the mainstream media in the UK did not want to touch. This is a case of corruption, entrapment, and guilty until proven innocent, with no means, no appeal to prove yourself innocent. This is going to shock people, and it should shock people, because this involves one of the most heinous accusations anyone can have thrown at them. And worse still, it went beyond the stage of accusation. and somebody serving time for something that they haven't done. So then, just getting a message off one of the mods. Stand by, folks. Everyone got into chat okay, right? Kristen, you're in there. And Kristen, you'll need to do the kind of uni-rock thing for me here today, sister, because you might have noticed by now, due to this demonetization episode that I'm in, they've taken away the tip jar in the chat room. It's something I never really asked people for in the first place. But now, Kristen, I'm going to need you to share alternative options that are in the description for people to actually get in touch and to support the show. But stand by 2 moments, because one of the mods is having problems getting in. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's us. We've got mods in there. We've got Billy Joe. We've got Kristen. And we are raring to go. 72 people in. That's perfect. That is what I like to hear. So then, tonight's show, 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, 2 p.m. on the West Coast. And this is a case of corruption like you will have never heard before. There's so much going on in this case. This one case that we're going to talk about tonight with a gentleman called Tim from Liverpool. That it really did. When I first heard this story and I met the guy physically in person, we sat and spoke about it. This is shocking, and it takes a lot to shock me. It really does. And the level of, let's just call it shenanigans for now, because I want Tim to explain this fully. The ignoring of evidence, the potential entrapment of suspects. It's going to shock you, folks. It's worse than anything that could happen to me on YouTube, trust me. And this is the type of show that KBS was set up for. Yeah, I enjoy going into the woo, the paranormal, the kind of stuff that we all love to sit and discuss and ponder. We were talking about space a moment ago, whether there's Birkeland currents coming from Saturn or not. Personally, from what I've seen from Secure Team 10, not a big fan of Secure Team 10. They've put out so much misinformation and deliberate disinformation in the past that it's hard to take anything they say seriously. However, tonight is the show that it's all about, because I always said I want to give a platform to people who couldn't get one anywhere else. Now, the mainstream media have been showing this case, and guess what? They want nothing to do with it, because this reaches high, folks. How high, I'm not too sure. And if there's one show, one case that's going to bring heat to KBS more than anything YouTube can do with their silly antics, then it's going to be this one. Now, I've put together this art here. That's all my own copyright. This is my voice. This is Kev Baker. I'm not duplicating anyone. And why did I say that? What an outrageous thing to say, Kev. Why would anyone think you're duplicating anyone? Well, that's exactly what has happened to me over on YouTube. Now, I know there's people out there who criticise content creators for making a buck off the time that we put in to share the information for the audience, the wider audience. However, it's something that YouTube would have made money off my content anyway, and a number of years ago, I decided, well, why not? Now, over time, my bad, I became very, very reliant on the Google Ads money. Especially after I had to stop working, okay? Now, that's on me. And I should always have had something in the background just in case this happened, because this isn't the first round of demonetization or problems for content creators on YouTube. And up to this point, touch wood, I had been pretty bulletproof. No copyright claims, no strikes, nothing like that. And I was plain sailing. I was uploading my own show from Truth Frequency Radio. And then all of a sudden, after I'd done a show with Bill Bean one night, I got hit with this. And it says here, currently ineligible for monetization. Your channel does not comply with the YouTube Partner Program. Now, I am free to reapply in 20 days, okay? That's not an issue. And I can't say this is censorship per se. Now, how can I say it's not censorship? Well, here I am talking to you on my main channel. I am still allowed to upload to my main channel, but right now, I really have been scunnered. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. Because when you get into what this is actually all about, and I'll zoom this in for you here, folks, so you can get a little look yourselves. It says here, here's why your channel wasn't approved for monetization. Duplication. Now, I know my good friend Unirock, he put out a video about this, and so many others are putting videos out about this as well, because I'm not the only one that's been hit by this. And people will say, you're just crying because you're not making money anymore, blah, blah, blah. Well, this was my main job. And like I say, full on me, absolutely full on me for becoming so reliant on it. However, when they just rip the rug out from under your feet and don't even give you any kind of recourse, no way to appeal until the 30 days is up, no one to talk to, they absolutely shut down my means of communication with YouTube. I was able to have one chat, which Jimmy Jeans witnessed, and I swear, folks, this wasn't a human I was talking to. This was the algorithm. This was the AI chatbot that is part of the algorithm that's flagging people up for duplication. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some channels out there that are duplicating content that shouldn't be. And some channels out there, the free ride is over, I'm afraid, folks, because there's been a lot of people re-uploading my full shows, not doing anything, not even changing the thumbnail. And up until this point, I wasn't bothered about it. I've always been of the opinion that information should be free, crack on, re-upload it. But now the goalposts have changed. And aside from my YouTube channel being affected, you have to be aware if you are re-uploading, not only my show or anyone's show out there, you have to be very aware, because if you've worked some time to get that channel, even though you're making money off videos wrongly, in my opinion, if you have re-uploaded my stuff, then you're in danger of going through the same duplication process as me. This is where it gets really, really hard and really, really difficult to see how somebody doing an alternative radio show, which I do, is able to continue. Now, I used to bring you news stories, used to try and break them down. All that's gone, because here are the rules for duplication. In most cases, you can't re-upload somebody else's content unless you get permission first. Now remember, it's not enough to credit the content owner or state that no copyright infringement is intended. Learn more about copyright and fair use. Here are some examples of the content that are subject to copyright. Now, this one here, very obvious. Audio-visual work like TV shows and movies. Now, somebody sent me a full movie the other day that was online, and it had adverts on it every 2 minutes through an hour-and-a-half movie. Not demonetized, no duplication on that channel. So that's an indication as to how this algorithm, it's shit, okay? It doesn't work right. It just does not work right. Now, Kristen B says I need to update my PayPal link in the description. Now, hold on then, Kristen. I will get that to you right now. Stand by. Yeah, so I'll drop it in the chat in a minute, Kristen, okay? It says here, sound recordings and musical compositions. Now, we all know that. The voice match, the content match, it usually picks up audio files right away. And what used to happen was you were informed that it was somebody's copyrighted material. You could either remove it, replace it, or there would be ads appear on your video and the person who created that music would get it, which is fair enough. That's total. I'm cool with that. This is where it starts to get a little bit more iffy. Visual and written works, including paintings, posters, articles, and books. So, I have been guilty, don't get me wrong, I've definitely been guilty of reading out from articles and showing them on a screen capture in the past. That's going to have to end. Now, this is why I say this is really difficult for people who do want to get into live streaming, that do the kind of content that I do, Because if you're going to be referring to a story and various versions of it and pointing out errors and anomalies within these stories, you're running the risk of duplication. Because with Article 13 over here in the UK and the EU as well, very much on the horizon, that'll be voted on in January, we're going to be hit with something called the link tax. That's a really realistic possibility here, folks. And that means people like me, if I am to source or use a story as a source or use the links for a story, I have to then approach that organisation, that media outlet, and I have to pay them a fee. Now you can see how smaller outfits like myself and other YouTubers, that's not going to be viable. So we're going to be left just to talk about basically what we've seen in a story. And we're going to have to be very careful that we don't string too many words together that are the same as the story, because that in itself could be regarded as duplication. Do you see how it's getting a bit stupid here, folks? Now it says also dramatic works such as plays and musicals. I get that. Cool. Video games and computer software. Video games. Go and look at how many video game channels are on the internet on YouTube. Now, I'm not saying for one moment that these channels should be closed down or demonetized. I'm trying to show you just how ridiculous this new system is. And it's an algorithm. And it's all algorithm. And there is no human in this process. And I'm guessing, I'm hoping that at the end of the 30 days, that's when you'll get some physical human in the loop to review this. There is no way that you can even appeal this before time. So many people over on Twitter have been using the hashtag #ShowMeTheDuplication because they refuse to tell us what videos we've gone wrong on. And if I take you over to my video manager here, we'll come in, we'll have a look at all the videos I've got. We've got 1,601 videos. Now, how am I meant to know, in amongst over 1,500 videos, just which video or videos that put me in danger? Which ones was it that flagged me up? So that's put me in a position, and you really need to know about this because you've maybe got a couple of weeks left to download any of the shows or any of the videos that I've done in the past. I can't tell you to re-upload them, folks, because I am going to have to start striking other channels that do that. Why do I have to start striking other channels? Because if I don't strike another channel, the algorithm might mistake me for the person duplicating my own content. Now you can go through all 1,600 videos on here and you're not going to find anywhere where I've played any games or any tricks or anything like that. Re-uploading shows twice hasn't happened. Had the same guest on a number of times. Does that count as duplication? If the guest is coming on, same name, same voice on there, does the algorithm recognise that? I don't know. There's no way of knowing. Absolutely no way of knowing here. And that's what's really annoying. And, you know, as a creator in YouTube, they rely on creators. Without creators, they've got nothing. Well, that used to be the case. And the fact that they're going more corporate tube and Netflix tube than you and I tube, I think we're starting to see a big, big change in how YouTube operates and how it's going to look for all of us in the near future. Now, it used to be, if you got a video monetized, used to be green dollar signs up here, right? All your videos. Now, on the odd occasion, you would talk about something controversial and a yellow monetization sign would come up. And it always gave you the option to approach YouTube and request the review. But as you can see here, all of that is gone, folks. All of it. Now, I was one that relied on Google Ads, and what that enabled me to do was, A, I didn't have to advertise, I didn't have to look for sponsors, anything like that. I didn't have to constantly ask people, you know, if they wanted to support the show. I did have the links in the description for Patreon, for PayPal, but that was always just for people who wanted to and who could and who chose to. Because in the end of the day, Google and YouTube, they were providing me with money and income that enabled me to basically stay as independent as I could without wasting 2-3 minutes at the start of a video promoting something, without filling up my description with heaps of links that probably most of you would be uninterested in. That is how I used to operate. But like I say, all of that has come to an end. Now, over on, if we look in here, people will say, well, Kev, you've got copyright notices, right? You're just at it. You're just lying to us. And I've had people saying that to me. And you're watching my channel live right now. I want to show you how many copyright strikes I've had, okay? You ready? Here you go. None. No copyright notices. So YouTube have shut me down for duplicating content that nobody else has claimed as their own, which makes me think that it's because of other people uploading my content. Now, myself and Anthony Patch, we did, and he's another one in this same boat, folks. My good friend Tony, he is in the same boat because just days after I got hit by this, he got hit with it. Now, it's a lot easier to identify on Anthony's channel maybe where we went wrong because there's so fewer videos on there. It's a newer channel. And I'll admit to you, myself and Anthony were uploading the Anthony Patch Show, both of us, the same show, because I was the co-host, he was the host. So that in itself, I can see how I have to hold my hands up. That's duplication. So what I'm going to have to do is, because there's so many other channels out there with my material on it, and it breaks my heart, but as opposed to going around trying to flag these videos, which I won't win now, and Anthony had a case of this as well. He tried to strike one of these channels that does nothing but upload his shows. They change the thumbnail, but everything's the same. Everything. You know what YouTube said to him? This isn't your content, so you can't claim copyright on it. Which means that one of these other channels, that one in particular that was copying Anthony, they thought that was the original Anthony Patch. So I'm going to have to remove all of my videos. 1,600's worth. Now, people say, well, that's a bit harsh, Kev. You don't need to do that. Well, without knowing where I went wrong, literally, that is exactly what I have to do. Now, I'm going to be streaming more. I'm going to be gaming and talking about stuff. I need to think of new techniques to get around these algorithms, folks, because I'm not going to go away. I'm certainly not going to go away. And even if the demonetization never comes back, I know that together, the Team KBS family will get through this. I know we will. I've got PayPal that people can help on. I've also got a Patreon campaign, and I'll get the PayPal in a minute. I'll go and get that in a minute, and I'll bring it over here. I'll let people know where it is. You don't have to, folks. This is the thing, okay? I'm going to have to ask, but you don't have to. And even if you want to, I only suggest you do so. I insist you only do so, only if you have enough. Because that way, hopefully, myself and all of you out there, we can pull together and we'll get to a stage where I don't need Google ads anymore. And I've got a lot more freedom now to say what I like while I don't have to worry about the algorithm flagging it for demonetization. It's almost like the shackles are off. So many people have been self-censoring. They'll tell you they haven't. They have. And it's because that's the game you have to play as a content creator on YouTube these days. And people say, well, why don't you go to somewhere like Real Video? And that's Mike Adams' outfit. And that's something I'm definitely planning on doing. If I don't get the monetization back, I'll certainly be re-uploading a lot more shows over there. I'll get an account on there. There are other options. But YouTube is the main game in town, folks. As much as I hate to say it, Google have cornered the market. They've become a monopoly on the internet. Between them, Facebook, Apple, and a couple of others, they basically rule everything. That might seem a really kind of bold statement to make, but it is. And even today, there's news coming out of Gizmodo and other publications about how you used to be able to use the Chrome browser without signing in. You'd be incognito, that kind of thing. Not anymore, folks. Not anymore. It's forcing people to sign in. And that is because they want to track every single keystroke we make. I suggest we take a good long hard look at what's happening in China right now with the whole social credit scoring system and the fact that Google are instrumental in putting all of that together. That is coming here. You know, China, for me, they seem to be almost the place to watch for New World Order programs that will eventually roll out here. And that's why you've seen a lot of these companies moving over there. Yeah, they get tax breaks and everything else from the Chinese government. However, there's a bigger game afoot. And I think when this New World Order does come together, we can see how power is going to shift east and how the rest of the world is going to look very much like it does in the east right now. And I'm not talking about Russia. I'm talking more about China, folks. They are the big players on the globe. And they have a lot of influence. And I'm not saying China has censored me. I've not been censored. I'm not saying that. But this is the start of this credit scoring system coming our way. I absolutely guarantee it. Now, a little bit more on the demonetization. Duplication. This is this again. It says here, different versions of the same video on the same channel. A 10-minute version and a 12-minute version. Never ever done that, folks. I never even took extracts out of shows on there to put them up. You know, the 10-minute kind of condensed version with all the highlights. Never done that. And it says many very similar videos on the same channel. 20 slightly different videos of the same Finger Family song. So, if you have a show, in my case, the Kev Baker Show, if you have 20 episodes of the Kev Baker Show, is that enough to be considered duplication? Even though I am Kev Baker and that's where I create most of my audio spoken content? Now, you can always hear me every night live for free over at Truth Frequency Radio, and they've really had my back through this as well, because obviously I broadcast on there, I get all the file put together by TFR, so we share the copyright, and basically, you know, the copyright lands with and sits with TFR, but they've always been gracious enough to the host to allow us to upload the content that we produce. And even Chris Geo, the man behind TFR, he approached YouTube on my behalf to basically kick up a bit of trouble for them, because he's saying, look, this is my host, this is his content, and he got met with very dry and very curt, well, nothing we can do for you because it's not your channel. And then when I go to try and have the same live chat, oh, guess what? They've taken that right away from me. So listen, folks, I don't want to go on too much more about this. Just a couple more here. It says videos consisting solely or mainly of public domain work created by other people. Uploads of copies or minimally edited versions of material previously published by other people under a Creative Commons license. Now, for example, if you use a Creative Commons song from Incomptech, can't even say that word, right? Or a song from YouTube's music library as a small part of a video about something else, it would be no problem. However, if your videos were merely that same song and a still picture, that would most likely be considered duplication. Okay, so videos closely matching content found on other channels, but that has yet to be claimed by copyright owners. And that, there, folks, is where I think I sit. Because I let other people re-upload my stuff, and because I didn't want to go about with a hammer striking people for ripping my stuff off and putting loads and loads of adverts every 2 minutes, I've had to suffer because of it. I'm the one that's accused of duplicating their content. And again, it's an algorithm. Now, because it's a new algorithm, and I know about machine learning, it's going to get better over time, and it'll learn from mistakes like this, but it won't see for 30 days, or it won't be told for 30 days that this was a mistake. Hopefully, potentially. So, what you can do is, there's links in the description, or you can come over to my website. That's kevbakershow.com. You'll see the Patreon sign down there. And there is also a PayPal donation button. I'm just going to copy the link here and post this into the chat. Let's see if this helps. Kristen, hopefully this will help you, sister. There we go. Now, the PayPal is in my partner's name, in case anyone panics, okay? In case anyone thinks, well, who's this Anne Craney woman? That is my partner. So I've put that in the chat room. And like I say, I'm not going to push this every time we come on air. It's taken me like a fortnight almost to talk about this publicly. It really has kind of knocked my confidence. really given a lot of stress, hardly slept since any of this has happened, folks. And that's not because I'm butthurt because YouTube have taken my money away. I'm just stressed because this, like I say, or like I said earlier, it became my main source of income. And with a young family and everything else, that's why, I really have been stressed big time. But that's not on news. I'm just sharing what's happening with me. And I know that usually my honesty is something that's appealed to all of you. And I'm just being as honest as I can here with you, okay? So like I say, the mods in there, they'll drop links to the Patreon campaign every now and again, the PayPal as well. But I'm not going to force the issue on you. And my main and only criteria is that you have actually got enough to spare in the first place. Because if you don't, please, I don't expect anything. And I won't think any less of anyone who doesn't contribute. Okay? So that's all out the way. I've got that all said. That is all said and done. I see Anthony Patch in the chat room. And Anthony, there's a lot of talk going about today. And I don't want to bring the video up. Can't bring the video up. I can't show you it, can I? Because it's duplication, right? But there's a lot of people talking about a Secure Team 10 video that seems to alleges to show. You know what? Why talk about it? I might as well just show you. I'll show you a still screen from this, okay? Saturn lasers, I think, might bring it up. Possibly bring it up. Yeah, here we go. You can see from the screenshots here. So this is the one I watched earlier on from a channel called Naughty Beaver. And if I just make this into bigger so you can see better there, and I'll fast forward this to the bit we want. Now then, here we go. So that's a picture of Saturn you're seeing there, allegedly, from an amateur astronomer. And what you're going to see in a moment is beams of light shooting out of Saturn. Well, that went straight to a still image. There was actually a better one than that. Hopefully it'll show it in a second. Yeah, there it is there. So there's a beam coming out of it. Beam coming out of it. Beam coming out of it. Two beams. Beam. Now then, people are asking me if this is the actual reconnection of the Birkeland currents. Now, me personally, I've got just this video to base it on. I've looked at nothing else. I don't think so. And there's a number of reasons for that, but my main reason is that I'm very, very skeptical of anything that Secure Team 10 put out, because they've not only been caught in misinformation, which is mistakenly putting stuff out, which all of us can do, but they are also pushers of disinformation. Because I've seen on videos where they've been told, look, this is crap, had it explained to them what it was, they delete these comments. Now, if you delete those comments so that other people can't see them and leave the material up and don't put some kind of disclaimer in the description, that changes from misinformation to disinformation, okay? Now, the way this is acting as well, we're talking about, I don't know what camera equipment they're using. However, we have to at least logically think about what could be going on here. And logically speaking, in my mind anyway, what we could be looking at is just an artifact, just some kind of process with whatever camera's been used. When it takes in the light, you can see how it's obviously zoomed here to the max. There's things that happen on cameras that can't be explained. You get lens flares, you get lights shooting off this place, that place, and most cameras actually have known issues with the software, known glitches, and you'll get that in the manuals. So do I think this is the reconnection of the Birkeland currents to Saturn? Well, myself and Anthony always said, that if they were to do that, it would come from CERN. So let's look at it from the other way round. Have we seen any reports from CERN or anywhere else around the world of lights shooting up towards Saturn? And I haven't seen any. Now, that's not to say they're not out there. They could possibly be out there. Who knows? Potentially they are out there. But for me, looking at this, first off today, I just ain't buying it. I just don't think this is the Birkeland currents or anything else that, maybe getting thrown out there. Laser beams being shot between Saturn and here. I don't know. I've got nothing to back that up with. And I know people are going to add this to the whole solar observatory close down that happened recently. That story in itself, I'm still no closer to what happened there. I know they say that some janitor potentially had something dodgy on his computer, stuff like that. I better take that off the screen. Probably showing too long of that there. But if it was dodgy stuff on somebody's computer, I don't see why you would need to evacuate the surrounding area. And I don't see why you would need feds and Black Hawks and all the rest of it the way that all played out. Now, that observatory's open again. And I had people saying to me, well, Kev, you're not thinking big enough, because obviously we had the image of something going in front of the sun not long before that. I think it was Mr. MBB3. He caught that. A few people caught it. And people were saying to me it might be Nibiru. If it's Nibiru and it passes in between our sun and the Earth, for a start, we're going to get some kind of eclipse event. Secondly, I think at that point, no matter what light's coming off it, it's going to be highly visible in the sky to many of people around the world. And we never heard anything about that. Now, that's not even to get into the effect that it would have on other planets, i.e. plasma exchanges, the to-ing and the fro-ing of other planets. I don't hear of any of them being knocked out of their known orbits yet. Now, that doesn't mean I discount Planet X. I've been following the whole Caltech Planet 9 story, and that was Mike Brown and Konstantin Batygin, who put out a paper that set the world of astronomy alight, basically, and that was some time ago now, and people have been looking for this alleged Planet 9. Now, I know people will say that's the same as Planet X, and it could be. It potentially could be. They just say it's a rogue planet on a very weird elliptical kind of orbit. Now, I know that fits with all the things that we know about Planet X, Nibiru, whatever name you want to put on it. But I would, me personally, and I'm no even an amateur astronomer, I would think that we would start to see more evidence in the outer planets, or even some of the planets closer to us, if anything like Nibiru or any planet rogue body was entering our solar system. But that's just my thoughts. And potentially on Thursday night, I'm going to have just the guest to talk to this. And Mr. Patch, you're going to be very, very impressed with this one. But I am going to be having on somebody called Professor Brian Keating. Now, Professor Brian Keating is this gentleman right here. And he was recently at Google, and he made a presentation called Losing the Nobel Prize. Now, he's actually a professor of physics at the University of San Diego. He's astrophysics, actually, and he's also somebody who's created telescopes. Absolutely amazing technology. And he's going to be coming on the show on Thursday night. And I'm kind of blown away by this one, because it was him that had heard of my show. And he got in touch with one of my previous guests, Bernie Taylor. And he actually helped to line up Brian coming on, Dr. Brian Keating, should I say, coming on Thursday night. And he's going to be talking about how he thinks the Nobel Prize has been nobbled. It's all a con game. We shouldn't be surprised to hear that. And I'm sure Mr. Patch in the chat room as well. Hey, UniReach in the chat room. Oh, absolute royalty in the chat room with UniReach. Big shout out to her. Remember, check out UniRock, my absolute favourite YouTube channel on the planet right now. Great work he does. Great people in there. A lot of the same audience over here as well. But this show here, old Dr. Brian Keating here, really looking forward to it. And I'll ask him, you know, we're not going to be talking about Nibiru per se, but I'll certainly put people's thoughts to him. And somebody that's that kind of clued up on astrophysics, I reckon he might be the guy to ask about Nibiru. What do you think? I always said I'd go to the best people, right? But he's going to be coming on for 1 hour on Thursday, hour number 1 at 10 p.m. And I'm really, really looking forward to geeking out with Brian and finding out all about losing the Nobel Prize. And isn't it ironic? all my talk about YouTube and Google here today, about the pressures I'm under from them. And yet here was Brian just earlier this year making a talk to Google employees. He's also done a TED Talk as well. Very, very clever guy, and I'm very honoured to be welcoming him on the show. Truly, truly am. So that's something to look forward to. Tonight, like I was saying, we have got this show here. Probably one of the most sick cases of entrapment that I've ever heard about. Think of the one crime in the world right now that everybody seems to be getting accused of, especially on YouTube. It's to do with Hollywood, it's to do with politics, it involves kids, okay? The most heinous crimes of them all. Well, imagine you end up getting set up to look like a pedophile. And what's worse than that is, imagine you end up in jail. And the only way that you're going to get out of jail early is if you hold your hands up and admit to that crime and all the stigma that would come with it. Now, if you'd done said crime, that'd be easy, right? You're going to get out in half the time, back to do whatever you want. But imagine you're innocent. Imagine you are innocent. This is what we're on about tonight, folks. It involves the police. It involves potential children that have been used by the police. There's been a story in the UK recently about how the cops over here have been using children to infiltrate gangs, infiltrate this, infiltrate that. And on first hearing this story, that's exactly what sprung to my mind. Now, I want you to join me tonight for that one. It's going to be a really heavy-hitting show. There'll be a lot of information that, probably pen and paper ready. There's forensic reports that were ignored. I don't want to go too much into it because I want tonight's guest, Tim, to lay it all out. And I'm just calling him Tim. That's the kind of level of information that I think tonight's show is all about. I don't want to disclose the gentleman's full name that's going to come on to tell us about this case. And I want to give a big shout out to the family of the person involved in this as well, because they got in touch with me today. And it takes a lot for me to stand up for somebody accused of this kind of crime. But when you see the evidence, or the lack of evidence, and the evidence that was ignored, it leaves absolutely no doubt in my mind that we're looking at something very, very sick here indeed. And we need to know about it, because this is somebody in Liverpool today, but it could be you tomorrow. Could be me the next day. And this is going to be shocking. Absolutely shocking. Now, I'm not going to stay too long today, so I'm going to head into the chat room, see what's happening over there. Just nice to get back in the saddle, back in the old live streaming saddle, especially now I've got the new PC. I was all absolutely the most confident dude in the world. We were getting ready to really up the level of things, live streams here, interviews there, and then this happened, and it really did. It absolutely knocked the confidence clean out of me. And I'm actually not the most confident person at the best of times anyway. If you met me in person, I'm dead shy, dead nervous. I'm not the way I come across on camera. It's easy to speak to all of you people here. You're not physically in the room, right? It's cool. I don't need to think about the, 120 people watching right now. If I had 120 people in some kind of room where I had to speak to, I'd be an absolute dribbling idiot. I couldn't do it, okay? So I'm getting slowly back into the way of it. Obviously, I've got the show every night, and TFR, they've been so supportive. They never try and tell us what we can say, what we can't say, who we can have on, things like that. There's nothing like that there. We can speak our mind freely. So I urge you all, if you want to catch the full Kev Baker Show from now on, really, it's going to be a case of going to tfrlive.com, because I can't even run the risk of uploading 20 full shows. Why? Because that could be regarded as duplicate content. And then I'll be back in the same boat again. Really, really frustrating. So that's why I want to get away from the Google ads altogether. And I want to make it totally independent. I am going to be taking some advertisers and sponsors on board. And I apologise for that, because that will take up a couple of minutes of showtime, a couple of minutes of video time. But I'm left with no alternative, folks. I really am not. The other alternative is I go back to work and all of this goes away. And that's not a threat. It's just practical. It's just realistic. That's what I'd have to do. And I don't want to do that. I really don't want to be doing that. So let's get into the chat room. And we'll have a little look what's going on in here. And I'll start with UniRach. Uni did a video about the golden ball artwork everywhere around the world. The next day, Tyler did the same, but said they were eggs that dropped from aliens. That does not surprise me at all. Says Third Face of the Moon posted an amazing chemtrail video today, worth watching. That was from PlayStation. I'll catch that, definitely. We've got Adam and Sarah from Chile. I think they're in Chile. Birkelands would be visible to the naked eye. Now, that's Anthony Patch there. And that was independent of what I was saying about it. I've not had a chance to speak to Anthony about this today. But I certainly wasn't buying into the whole Birkeland currents. It says, no shit, secure team is bogus. Suspicious observers is the way. No fear-mongering. Anna, I totally agree with you there. And see when something is posted on YouTube, one of these sun anomalies, something like that, that's exactly who I go to, Suspicious Observers. He's up there with Dutch Sense. Dutch Sense does the whole kind of earthquake, earth change stuff. But Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers, if you haven't checked that channel out, folks, I really, really urge you to do so. I'm just going to put it on this picture here, just so I don't get in trouble. Surely I own the copyright to my own website, right? Surely. But if we keep coming down here, it says, here is a link. Thank you, Billy, for posting that. Really appreciate it. Uni-Ancient? I almost called you Uni-Ancient Aliens there. Says, not even like ancient alien types of what if it was for a fact. The janitor was watching porn. You see, this whole janitor watching porn at the Solar Observatory, I'm not buying that. I just ain't buying it. Why would you need Blackhawks? When have you ever heard of another kind of porn raid, be it child porn or whatever, where they have Blackhawks circling places where they evacuate the neighbours surrounding the building of said pervert? Just doesn't usually happen. I don't know what's going on there. I really don't. I heard some stories about it might have been infiltrated by spies. I really don't know. Don't know at all. And I've kind of put out an initial video on the whole Solar Observatory asking questions. I wasn't telling you what's happening because it's too confusing, and it's one of these stories that was always going to go viral on the internet, and it was always going to spin off really kind of sensible, logical theories, but then moving outwards into the absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know what's happened. Keep coming down. Uni does catch some BS, but he is close to the truth and people get nervous. I love Uni for that. I really do. He's got a set of kahunas on him that most guys would absolutely die for. He speaks his mind. He goes out there. He looks at the YouTube channels that are at it, folks. There's a lot of YouTube channels at it. And I tell you, that's something interesting to watch over the coming weeks and months to see which channels aren't getting hit with duplication, which channels aren't getting any grief. And I'll tell you, these channels are part of multi-channel networks. They are part of networks that A, have an in with YouTube, B, they buy subs and they buy clicks. Now, I ain't just saying that. I'm not speculating. Because I was approached by a multi-channel network at one point as well. And I shared this with the Uni family at one point, shared it on Uni's show. We were going to share it on the show, never got round to it. But when I was approached by these channels, they used other channels on YouTube as a selling point. They said, you know, Kev, same kind of channels like yourself, and they rattled off X, Y, and Z. And then what they said to me was, you know, what we do is, we go into this partnership and we will, after a month or two, when we start to get working together and we know each other better, what we'll do is we'll spend $100 of your Google ad money. Now, that's me being perfectly honest with you, and I don't care. if this multi-channel network, take the hump over this. But what they said was, after a month or two, when we get established, we'll take $100 and we'll pay a South Korean click farm for views. Now that way, we get more views on your content. We can drive up the price of your advertising space, and we'll get bigger and better advertisers. And then what we'll do after that is every month we'll buy a block of clicks and we'll buy a block of subs. Now go and look at these channels that grow out of control. It's unnatural how they grow. It truly is. You'll usually see that as opposed to telling you what the video's about in the description, you have to scroll down about 5 different adverts, like links to different companies. That's one of the telltale signs that these people are part of a network. Now, hey, nothing wrong with that. But then for somebody like myself and Anthony as well, who are trying to do this legitimately, slowly but surely, look at Unirock as well. That's how a channel grows naturally. When you start to see channels growing like thousands of subs a day and, just over a short period of time, they get up to close to 100,000, that isn't natural. They're gaming it, folks. And they're usually gaming it with a multi-channel network. You'll see them all going on each other's shows. Think to yourself, I'm not going to name any right here today. That's maybe something for another day. But it's the usual suspects that you've probably called shills and trolls in the past. Okay? So I'm not willing to go down that road. Absolutely not. I would rather do it slow, steady, and get hit with all the crap along the way. Why? Because I'm doing it genuinely. And these people ain't. Uni calls it red pill to pay the bill. And people will say, well, Kev, you're on here today moaning because you can't pay your bills. So I'm red pilling to pay the bill. No. Because I won't pretend I'm something I'm not. I won't hype up something that doesn't need it. And I certainly won't just put content out there for the sake of it and to try and guilt people into, helping out. There's a big difference, folks, a big difference. So you'll spot the channels now that I've mentioned it. So we'll go back into the chat room. Don't even know how I got there. This is what's cool about the live stream. It works with my head. I just go here, there, and everywhere. So if we come down, it says Uni does have done that bit. They have some simulators up, Kev. They have sun simulators up. NASA have the docks. Now, I've heard about sun simulators. I have. I'm not going to discount them. I absolutely don't believe that the sun in the sky is a sun simulator. I think that's the sun. Now, I know I've seen the plans that NASA allegedly have. And isn't it funny how we discount everything NASA says 99% of the time, but then when it's something like a sun simulator, people automatically assume, well, that must be right, then they must have that. Well, if NASA are anything to go by, I wouldn't trust them with anything. I don't think they've got some big giant sun simulator up there, but that's just me personally. I've never seen evidence of a sun simulator. But like I say, I do know there's documents out there. Have I been to the sun? No. So I can't definitively tell you that it is a simulator or it's not a simulator. But when you look at all the people out there, again, Ben Davidson, suspicious observers. I don't ever hear him saying, that the sun simulator's getting ready to kind of simulate some coronal mass ejection event. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the whole sun simulator thing at all. And that's not to have a go at you, PlayStation. Just me being perfectly honest. The reason the sun's going white and it's not yellow is because stars, every star has a cycle. And we are moving into a phase with our sun where it's giving off more ultraviolet light. Now, me personally, I think that is to blame for what used to be the big yellow-orange sun. I remember painting it as a child. A clear blue sky, lovely blue. You could never reproduce the blue on an easel, but it was a blue sky, orange sun, right? And I know, folks, it looks like a silver disc now. I absolutely get that. And when you're out in the sun as well now, you'll notice that your skin starts to kind of pinprick a lot quicker than it used to. And that, again, is the ultraviolet radiation that's coming off the sun. And that, for me, explains the changes in the sun, the fact it's going through its cycle, and whether they've got a sun simulator up there or not. Where would you hide the real sun? You would have two suns in the sky then, or you'd have one blacking out or blocking out the normal sun. What would be the point of that? What's the purpose of that? I just don't get it. I really don't. But again, PlayStation, great point. It really is. And maybe I should do a kind of dive into the sun projectors. I don't know if it's something you want to see me doing. I could certainly do that. Pedophiles don't require all that to be arrested. Maybe a SWAT team at max if he was dangerous. Exactly, Big Daddy. I don't think we would actually see any kind of Black Hawks surrounding area being evacuated. That doesn't fit for me. They say sex abuse for everything nowadays. Daddy Cash, you are so right. You are so right. It used to be people got accused of being a Nazi. Not anymore. You're either a pedophile or some kind of sexual predator, something like that. That's the new insult. So it says that the Nibiru or Planet X is at the opening of the sixth seal. Read Revelations. Now, I do believe, I'm not sure on the ins and outs of the whole Bible, and that's don't let your candlestick be removed. Is that where the whole wormwood thing comes into it? I know that they do talk about wormwood and it'll turn the waters sour and stuff like that. So I do know that the Bible itself does refer to some kind of planetary body. You can interpret it that way, certainly. But again, and this is just me, folks, you might have a totally different idea, but I don't see any evidence for it. I would expect to see a whole lot more action going on in the sky. And even if it's something you can't see with your naked eye, you know, there's amateur astronomers out there who have got no agenda. They're getting no funding. These are just, you know, enthusiasts that spend thousands of pounds on their own telescopes and look at the sun. And I don't hear any of them raising the alarm. I don't. So if we come down even further still, and I've got a few people to thank in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We've got wormwood will arrive at some point. It's in the instruction manual. Yeah, Big Daddy, again, well said, man. You know, I do believe that what's prophesied in the Bible, never used to buy into it too much. Not until last couple of years. You know, you really do kind of have a, let's call it a come to Jesus moment when you find out you've had 2 heart attacks and your lungs are packing in. And that's certainly what opened my eyes and certainly has given me faith. And that's why, you know, I don't discount Nibiru. And if people think I do discount it, please don't think that. I don't. Because I actually do think there's some kind of body out there. Call it wormwood, call it Planet X, whatever you want. And the fact that it is in the Bible, and even the Quran as well, another religious text that tells you there's going to be 3 days of dark and 3 days of night. You know, one scenario for that would be some planetary body coming in and affecting the spin of the Earth. I know that sounds really weird and out there, but, you know, when there's multiple religions and multiple ancient documents pointing towards something that might come in the future, I definitely think you have to take heed. Absolutely. Adam and Sarah, I don't buy the Nibiru stuff. And Adam, Sarah, I'm totally cool with that. Absolutely cool, because I don't know. And that's the way we should be about any subject. We just don't know. And I know there's a lot of people just don't give any time at all to Nibiru or anything like that. And that's fair enough. You know, all I would say is keep an open mind, because, like I say, if something is to change and something is to come in, at least then you're not going to have to totally, okay, then I got it all wrong. Just keep an open mind. Just say, I don't know. That's the easiest thing to say nowadays. It really is. Remember, Planet X was supposed to arrive on 2012. Well, no, because that was our interpretation of a calendar, a timetable of events that was put together by the Mayans hundreds of years ago, arguably thousands of years ago. We're the ones that put the 2012 date on that, because they didn't use the Gregorian calendar back then. They just pointed towards this time as being important for something. Now, you think between, say, 2010 and today. Let's go even further. Let's think between 2000 and 2020. Think of the changes that will have taken place in that time. In that time period of just 20 years, and in cosmic terms, 20 years is nothing, folks. 2012 is roughly in the middle of that, okay, give or take a couple of years. Now, tell me that the changes that have happened in the world, socially, economically, politically even, as well, with what we're seeing today, all the turmoil in the political world, technology, all the stuff that we have today that we didn't have then, tell me that this isn't a different world today. 2000, from what I remember, there was only 2 genders. Now ask yourself how many different kind of genders or how many different types of species can people identify as. I think Facebook had it up to 47 the last time, and we're not even at 2020 yet. So were the Mayans pointing towards a big planet coming through, or were they talking towards a change of the age? And I think it's the change of the age. And it's the change of the age that takes us back to the New World Order and everything else, because they do want this new age, the age of Aquarius, to be theirs. And even the Bible, going back to the Bible again, I'm sure I'm going to butcher it here, but it talks about how will we know when you're going to return. And this is to Jesus. And he talks about the person bearing water, you know, and that takes us to Aquarius. Am I saying Jesus is going to imminently return? I can't say that, the same as I can't say if Nibiru is going to return or not. But I tell you what, when you look around the world right now, it's going to hell in a handbasket. And if there was any time for Jesus to turn up or anything positive like that, it would certainly be now. How you can look around the world and say that things haven't gone evil is beyond me. It really is. You can't be looking closely enough at some of the things going on if you don't think we're living in bizarro land times. Honestly, that's my own honest opinion. It's heartfelt. I speak to so many different guests on so many different subjects, and the one thing that comes through all of it is that there's something very, very spiritual going on at this time, and you can't separate the physical and the science from the spiritual. You just can't, folks. Whether you believe in God or Jesus or Allah or Buddha or not, matters not a jot, because you need to know the enemy. And we can all agree that there's an elite cabal of people that are the enemy, that are the ones that are, you know, holding the world in poverty in many cases, holding us hostage in many cases, even if we don't realize it. These people absolutely bow down and give everything to the dark ones. Make no mistake about it. You just have to look at movies. You just have to look at Hollywood. You just have to look around you. Times are changing. And then you can even look at things like Baphomet statues going up in Arkansas and things like that. And again, I get it. Okay, people say, but they've got the right to express their religious beliefs. And I get that, folks. But I think it's indicative of the times that we're in. It truly, truly is. So 2012, did the Mayans get it wrong? I think we got it wrong. I think it was us that got it wrong, folks. And I was there, 2012 all the way, right the way up till the 21st of December. On the 2012 date, I was convinced, utterly convinced, that something was going to happen. Some event that we could go, ha-ha, there it was. But isn't hindsight a wonderful thing? You know, when you look back now, I think the changes might not have been overnight, but over the space of 20 years, which is no time whatsoever, it's barely a generation, things have changed. And they have changed big time. So I think the Mayans were right to point to this time. So it says there are giant sphere ships in our solar system. Now, I've seen a whole heap of really kind of weird, anomalous stuff. And some of the most compelling evidence or footage that I've seen, it actually comes when you have one of these night vision goggles, the 3rd generation night vision goggles. You attach that to your camera, and what you see, it's like something out of Star Wars or Star Trek, folks. There's big platforms. It looks like big, giant platforms just outside of our planet. Not miles away, but they're just outside of here. Now, does that tie in with the whole secret space program, stuff like that? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I know we've got technology that obviously we don't know about. I think with Trump going for the Space Force, we're going to see a lot of the technology that they have had. That'll be rolled out as being new, i.e. the TR-3Bs, the triangles with a big light on the bottom. I expect to see them sometime soon. And I expect there's still craft and, propulsion systems that we aren't aware of. And we'll eventually find out about them, maybe. But are all of these things that people are seeing out there in the solar system, are they all alien? Are they all ours? Or is it a mixture of the two? Are a lot of the things we're seeing being misinterpreted as UFOs? And remember, a UFO does not mean alien. A UFO is just something that is unidentified. The minute you say it's an alien ship, it's not unidentified anymore. The minute you say it's a TR-3B, not unidentified. It's something that you just don't know what it is. And that's why I sometimes laugh when people say, UFOs aren't real. UFO is just something that you can't identify. So unless you know absolutely everything from aviation, every kind of anomalous behavior that you might witness in the night sky, you cannot say that UFOs don't exist. I get aliens, they might not exist. Me personally, come on, I'm the woo master. I obviously believe in aliens. Do I believe they're roaming about here amongst us right now? Never used to, but I tell you what, I could make a case for it now. I'm only joking. But back to the chat room, folks. Back to the chat room. And we've got scrolling down here. Try to find some that are good. Richie from Boston and Jordan Sather are on their way. Now, I wonder if that was when I was talking about the multi-channel networks. I didn't say they're part of the multi-channel network. I'm just reading out what's on the chat there. Make of that what you will. So we come scrolling down. Armand. Now, Armand Adams in the chat room. I'm about to give him a hammer. Please check out his YouTube channel. A fellow Scotsman. Him and his dog. He does dog grooming. He does gaming. So please check out Armand. And Armand, please drop your link in the chat room if you want to put it in there. I've got no problems with that, brother. I want to see people heading on over to your chat. We've got Terry in there, a.k.a. Brassneck66. Brilliant. So we've got DD Mac. Do you know about the pyramid beam at Chichen Itza? No, I don't know about that. However, I have seen some photography of other pyramids. I can't remember the name of the technique. I think it's the same as what you do to get somebody's aura. It begins with a K. But I have seen these beams of energy coming off pyramids before. Richard C. Hoagland, he's done tests at the Great Pyramid, and there is readings of piezoelectricity, toroidal kind of physics going on around these pyramids. So do I think that there's a potential? And remember, Didi, I've not seen the one you're talking about, but I can totally picture it, and I totally believe it. If somebody's caught a picture of that, cool. At the same time, got to watch out for photoshops. I have to say that. I have to put that disclaimer in there. But that being said, the Bosnian pyramid as well, it's a highly controversial one. But you do see some kind of beams coming off that in some of the photographs as well. So, yeah, absolutely. What the pyramids were used for, that's anyone's guess. I honestly think they're some type of machine. And on that note, I am going to be joined by Chris and Cherie Geo, not tomorrow night, but next Tuesday, when they're going to be coming on to talk about resetting the pyramid. So they're going to be the people to get right into that with all of you, and mark that one in the calendar. We've got Big Daddy, have a good day all. Got to get some farm work. Storms moving into southwest Pennsylvania. Farm work has got to be some of the hardest work out there, and probably farmers are some of the most undersung heroes as well. What we all call firemen and we all call paramedics and police, we tend to think of them as being your kind of heroic type jobs at times. Me, farmers all the way. Absolutely. So much respect for them. As a young guy growing up, in the Highlands, used to go and jump in the wool bag. It sounds bizarre. it was like this 12-foot bag, and it was just all the wool getting sheared off the sheeps and things at one time of the year. And a wee guy like me, I was perfect to throw in the bag and kind of jump up and down the wool to pack it all in tight. Other times of the year, we would help picking the potatoes. It's the hardest damned work I've ever done in my life, and I was only there part-time, folks. So farmers, for me, absolutely so much respect. Scrolling down still. Where are we? Awesome sauce Thursday. Writing it down. We have got not very astronauts. You see, Uni Rach, I need you to teach me how to do the chat room, because Uni's got it sussed. He seems to pick out the cool comments right away. Do you know you can send out a notification preview to all your subscribers before you go live, Kev? You can set it for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. I actually done that. I tried that today, Rach. I put it on for 30 minutes beforehand. And then I almost forgot that I was meant to go live. My brain doesn't work like a normal person's. I often say that this is a quantum computer we have between our ears. Mine's is definitely more like a classical computer. It really is. It just doesn't work on all cylinders. But no, that is a good way to get it out there. And I want people as well, really important, if I come back on here, I want you to check out and make sure you're signed up to this channel here, because this is going to be the main channel from now on, folks. This is Kev Baker Show 2. It's the same. I'll actually get to the channel right now so I can drop the link in the description, because this is where I'm going to be doing a lot of my live streaming. It's not monetized either, so don't think I'm baiting and switching you into some monetized channel. I'm not doing that, folks. It's not met the required standards to be monetized yet, so it's not even worthy. Not worthy, as YouTube would say. So I'll drop in the link for that right there. Boom. That's in. And I think we're near the bottom. No, we're not near the bottom at all. Oh, we've got Jimmy Jeans in there. Jimmy Jeans in the chat room. Bloomin' heck, man. Awesome. So Jimmy Jeans, he might come on for a little while tonight as well. Max Egan is convinced about the mud floods. You know, he mentioned that on my show as well. And I think this was one of these mud floods that happened in Europe. But there seems to be no written history of it, no record of it. And we see evidence of it. I've seen Max showing pictures of this on his own podcast. And it makes you wonder how many other episodes in history might have been missed. How many other episodes in history, you know, have just been occulted from us. How old is the planet? How old is the human race? How old are the pyramids? How many times has humans or other species been on this planet? I just don't know. Because they've hidden that much from us over the ages that you just have to question everything. And you have to keep a very, very open mind indeed. Ruth Kessler, I'm telling you, if chickens had hands, they'd rule the world. I like that. If chickens did have hands, they would scare the shit out of me. I don't know about anything else. Maybe Jordan Sather, maybe his blue chickens have got hands. I'm not too sure. I would imagine if there's chickens about to take over the planet, they probably have hands. Armand up there, thank you. And then I've got Jimmy Jeans talking about Brandy here. I support you taking on advertising. It makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, Brandy, because I know it's going to be met with great criticism. I know that. People, for some reason, don't like if you try and make a living out of doing this. I don't get that. I really don't. Especially if I'm going to be putting in like most of my time during my day and my night doing it. I don't see what the hump is with people. I don't know. Nana, she's subbed to Armand. Thank you very much. Marie, have you looked into the mud floods? I'm going to look into them more. I have to. There's a researcher out there that talks about an alternative timeline, an alternative history. I think I'll need to pursue that one. Anthony Patch, have you looked at the mud floods? This is something we're going to have to look at this, Tony. We really are. We've got Tatty Holidays, Kev. I'm a farmer. That's from Ruth. Robbie Green Miller. Hi, all got here. Robbie Jean Miller. I know that name from somewhere. How do I know that name? Kev has had Max on his show. I've had Max on a few times. Absolute legend of a guy. Love the way he thinks. Love the way he talks. And can't recommend Max Egan high enough, really. Uni Rach, I love you too, but don't tell Uni. He might come after me, Uni Rach. We don't want him knowing that. We come down, Nana. I believe the pyramids are much older than they say. Same here. I go for the whole 13,000 years old. I know that sounds bizarre. It sounds really bizarre, but when you look into the work of Robert Schoch and you look at the work of other archaeologists who point towards the almost water damage, the water evidence on the Sphinx, and you look to when that might have happened and when Leo was in the sky and when you had Osiris right above so they could match the pyramids, 13,000 years ago seems to make sense. See, I'm not saying it's definite, but it makes sense. And it makes sense they're a lot older because you think about the Great Pyramid of Giza, and I say this all the time, but it's worth to repeat. If the Great Pyramid of Giza was one of their first goes, right, and it's still standing today, why is it that every dynasty that came after that, the pyramids got worse? Does that suggest to you that maybe they were trying to copy something without full knowledge of how to do it? When the Egyptians came, that pyramid was there, all shiny, all lovely, covered in marble, shining away like the wonder of the world that it should still be. Did they try and replicate it? And that's why it started going wonky and then worse and worse still. Because by rights, if you do things over time, you should learn and get better. But pyramid building went back the way. And that's why I've got a serious problem with that. Serious anomaly. Seriously. So, I don't know. But Nana, I agree with you. Are you discussing the mud fossils? And that's from Shane F. We were certainly bringing them up, Shane. I'm not sure what to make of them. It's something I'm going to have to look into. But I'm going to wrap it up now, folks, because I've been here a fair amount of time. I promised I wouldn't stay too long. Not too long anyway. But today was really about getting back in the saddle because my confidence is taking a kick in the stones. Not because of anything yous have done out there. Yous are the only reason I've come back. But because of what's happened with YouTube, because I'm having to rethink things. And Anthony Patch, my buddy, my quantum entangled friend, he's there all the way as well. He's in exactly the same boat, folks. So if you want to support myself or Tony, please do so. But if you can't, that is not a problem. Not a problem at all. Because I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here. Might need to start work again, but that's cool. That's behind the scenes stuff. You don't need to worry about that. Main thing is, Kev Baker Show will always be live every Monday to Thursday. Never fear that, okay? I want to give a big shout out to Bruce and to Kylo as well. Thank you very much for supporting the show. So please remember to join me tonight for a show that is probably going to send ripples around the UK. Guilty until proven innocent. The very, very tragic, sad case of John Sadler. Join me from 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, 2 p.m. on the West Coast on tfrlive.com. And from me, from the bottom of my heart, to all of you people out there, and you people in the chat room, the mods, he's been brilliant. It's not getting as bad as somebody try to call me. No. You know I'm on a live stream right now because you're in the chat room, you're trying to call me. That's just mental, isn't it? So, again, I just want to thank all of you, the mods out there. I haven't been hit by any trolls today or in my live streaming per se. However, give me 2 secs, folks. It's okay, it's okay. Jimmy Jean's butt dialed me. I'll out you, Jimmy. I'll tell people what's going on. Right, so before I go, folks, right, remember, tune into the show. Remember to subscribe to the backup channel. Remember to hit the PayPal or the Patreon if you can do so. Remember to share this video far and wide. Hit like, do what you have to do, put it on social media. Let people know that I will be coming back to do the live streams. Not every day to start with, but eventually it's going to be every day. It's going to be a daily thing, folks. It truly is. So I can't convey my thanks enough to all of you out there. And yous have really, really helped to pick me up and keep me going. And I'll never forget that, okay? So I'll leave you with a bit of chat room. You can have a little chat on the way out. I think we've got something here. Yeah, the chat room should start coming up there. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. So, Guru Rob or Guru Bob, big shout out to you, brother. Yeah, please join us tonight, folks, over on tfrlive.com. Remember to support the show, support the channel. And if you don't support me or you don't support Anthony, go and support your favourite host. A lot of uni supporters in here. You've got to get behind your favourite people. You've got to help them right now. So if it's not for me, then please support whoever it is that brings you the content that you love. Let them know that you support them if you can't do it monetarily. You know, even a message. Some of the messages I've received since all of this happened, you'll never know just how much they've managed to pick me up along the way as well. So we all come together. We are all the KBS family. Hashtag Team KBS. Kristen, wonderful show. It's not even a show yet. It's more of a chill out. It's more getting used to it so far, Kristen. It's not even a patch on uni. And I would never try to do another show like uni, because uni is uni and Kev is Kev. And I'll just try to be the best Kev I can be. And I know uni is the best uni he can ever be. And he'll keep on bringing it night after night. I'll see a lot of yous hanging out in the uni chat. I'll be over there. I'll see a lot of yous in the chat room over at TFR Live. Don't forget, I'll be co-hosting with Anthony Patch this week. Kathleen Urquhart, Anthony's beautiful other half. Her first book is now out for sale as well, and that's Pigtails and Potter's Field. You can hear the world exclusive interview over on Anthony's channel if you want to go and check that out. Or you can go to our website at kurquhart.com. That's KURQUHART.com. Terry, keep it up, Kev. Great as per usual. Thank you so much. Uni Rach, lots of love hearts back at you as well, sister. So I will be on the show tonight, and if Uni's live, I'll be in Uni's chat tonight. So I will see you all there. Be there or be square, as they say. Catch you later, folks.